Adrian Castellano had attended exactly 3 blind dates in his life, and all 3 had been disasters. First woman spent the entire evening on her phone. The second talked only about his money. The third asked him to invest in her startup before they had even ordered appetizers. So when his assistant Marcus suggested one more attempt, Adrian had been ready to refuse, but then Marcus mentioned that his wife knew someone special. She is different, Adrian. She is not looking for your money or your connections. She does not even know who you are. How is that possible? My face has been on the cover of Business Weekly 3 times this year. She does not read business magazines. She works 2 jobs just to make ends meet. But Sarah says she has the kindest heart of anyone she has ever met. Adrian had reluctantly agreed. Now, sitting in the private dining room of La Lumiere, one of the city's most exclusive restaurants, he was already regretting it. Beside him sat his 6-year-old daughter, Isabella. She wore a pink dress with a bow in her blonde hair and was taking her role as chaperone very seriously. Remember, Daddy, you have to be nice. No talking about work. No checking your phone. And you have to smile more. Aunt Sarah says you have a good smile, but you never use it. When did you talk to Aunt Sarah about my smile? She calls me sometimes to check if you are being a good daddy. Adrian sighed. His late wife, Elena, had died in childbirth, leaving him a widower at 32 with a newborn daughter for the past 6 years. He had focused entirely on Isabella and building his tech empire. Dating had not been a priority, but Isabella was getting older, and she had started asking questions about why she did not have a mommy like her friends. She is late, Adrian observed, checking his watch. Maybe she is nervous, Isabella said wisely. Aunt Sarah says ladies get nervous before dates. Before Adrian could respond, there was a knock at the door. Come in, he called. The door opened, and Adrian felt his breath catch. The woman who entered was beautiful in an understated way. Blonde hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, minimal makeup, wearing a cream-colored top and dark skirt that looked inexpensive, but clean and pressed. But it was her expression that caught his attention. She looked terrified. I am so sorry I am late, she said quickly. The bus was delayed, and I had to run from the stop. And I know this is a terrible first impression, but I promise I am usually very punctual, she was rambling. Her cheeks flushed from running. Adrian found it oddly charming. It is fine, he said, standing. Please sit down. I am Adrian, and this is my daughter Isabella. The woman's eyes went to Isabella, and her expression softened. Hello, Isabella. I am Grace. What a beautiful dress you are wearing. Thank you, Isabella said. Daddy bought it for me. He buys me lots of dresses because he says I am his princess. Grace smiled and sat down up close. Adrian could see she was younger than him, probably late 20s. Her hands were slightly rough, the hands of someone who worked hard. Marcus's wife, Sarah, has told me wonderful things about you, Adrian said. She has told me terrifying things about you, Grace replied, then clapped her hand over her mouth. I am sorry. That came out wrong. I just meant that when she told me you were a CEO of a major company and I should meet you for dinner, I thought she was joking. I do not exactly move in those circles. What circles do you move in? Adrian asked, genuinely curious, the trying to make rent by working 60 hours a week circles. I waitress at a diner during the day and clean offices at night. Not exactly glamorous. Why do you work so much? Grace hesitated. I am supporting my younger brother. Our parents died 3 years ago in a car accident. Danny is 16 now, a junior in high school. He is really smart, wants to go to college. I am trying to save up so he can go somewhere good. Somewhere that will give him opportunities I never had. Adrian felt something shift in his chest. Here was someone who understood sacrifice, who put family first. That is very admirable. It is just what you do for family. The waiter arrived to take their order. Grace looked at the menu and Adrian saw her eyes widen at the prices. I will just have a salad, she said quietly. Nonsense. Adrian said, order whatever you like. This is my treat. I could not possibly. Daddy is really rich, Isabella announced. He can afford it. Isabella, Adrian said gently. That is not polite. But Grace laughed. She is honest. I appreciate that. She looked at the menu again. Okay, I will have the salmon. I have never had salmon that was not from a can, so this will be an adventure. Over dinner, Adrian found himself genuinely enjoying the conversation. Grace was funny, self-deprecating, and refreshingly honest. She told stories about difficult customers at the diner and the absurdity of cleaning offices where people left bizarre things behind. Last week, I found a full suit of armor in one office. Not decorative, like functional medieval armor. I have no idea why anyone needs that in an accounting firm. Adrian laughed harder than he had in months. Isabella was equally charmed. She peppered Grace with questions about everything from her favorite color to whether she believed in fairy godmothers. I do believe in them, Grace said seriously, but I think they look different than we expect. Sometimes a fairy godmother is a friend who believes in you, or a stranger who shows you kindness when you need it most. Have you met your fairy godmother? Isabella asked. Grace glanced at Adrian. Maybe I am meeting her tonight, or him. I am still figuring that out. As dinner wound down, Isabella excused herself to use the restroom. The moment she left, Grace leaned forward. Adrian, I need to be honest with you. Sarah told me this was a blind date, but she did not tell me who you were until this morning. When I Googled you, I almost canceled. Why? Because we are from completely different worlds. You run a company worth billions. I can barely afford my rent. You wear suits that probably cost more than I make in a month. I wear clothes from thrift stores. This does not make sense. Why does it need to make sense? Because I am not looking for a fairy tale. I am looking for something real. And I am worried that when you see my life, my tiny apartment, my struggles, you will realize I am not what you want. Adrian reached across the table and took her hand. Grace. I have dated women who had all the right credentials, the right education, the right connections, the right clothes, and every single one of them was wrong because they only saw my money. You are the first person in 6 years who has looked at me like I am just a person. You are just a person, Grace said softly. A person with a beautiful daughter and a good heart and a really nice smile that you should use more often. Isabella told you about the smile thing? She did. She is a good wingman. They both laughed. Isabella returned then, and Adrian paid the checkers. They walked out to the car. Isabella slipped her hand into Grace's. Did you have fun tonight? I had the best time, Grace said honestly. Good. Because Daddy never smiles like this. You make him happy. They reached Adrian's car, a sleek black sedan that probably cost more than Grace would earn in 5 years. Can I give you a ride home? Adrian asked. The bus is fine. Grace, it is late and you live across town. Please let me drive you, she agreed. And they drove through the city. Grace directed them to a neighborhood that was rough but not dangerous. Her apartment building was old but maintained. This is me, she said. Isabella, who had been dozing in the back seat, suddenly woke up. Daddy, can we keep her? Isabella. But Grace was laughing. That is the sweetest thing anyone has ever said to me. She leaned into the back seat. Isabella, your daddy and I just met. But I really like both of you. And if your daddy wants to see me again, I would like that too. Daddy definitely wants to see you again, Isabella announced. He has that look. What look? The look Aunt Sarah says means he really likes someone. Adrian felt his face heat. I apologize for my daughter. She apparently has no filter. She is perfect, Grace said. She looked at Adrian. For what it is worth, I would like to see you again too. But next time, can we go somewhere less fancy? Maybe the diner where I work? You could see my real life. I would love that. Grace got out of the car, then leaned back in. Thank you, Adrian, for tonight, for treating me like I mattered. It has been a long time since I felt like that. You do matter. Very much. Over the next 3 months, Adrian and Grace built something neither had expected. Adrian visited the diner where Grace worked. Sitting in her section for lunch several times a week, he met her brother Danny, a smart kid who reminded Adrian of himself at that age. He helped Danny with college applications, using his connections to arrange campus visits, but he did it quietly, without fanfare. Because Grace had made it clear she would not accept charity. If you want to help Danny, help him earn it. Give him advice, write him a recommendation letter, but do not just hand him things. He needs to know he can succeed on his own merit. Adrian respected that Grace. In turn, became part of Isabella's life. She attended Isabella's school play, Cheering louder than anyone, she taught Isabella how to braid hair and bake cookies. She showed up. Consistently and genuinely, one evening, 4 months into their relationship, Adrian invited Grace to his penthouse. She had resisted coming for weeks, intimidated by his wealth, but finally she agreed. When she walked into his home, she was quiet. "This is beautiful," she said finally, "but it does not feel like you." "What do you mean?" "It is too perfect. Too staged. Where are Isabella's drawings, her toys? The signs that someone actually lives here?" She was right. Adrian's home was a showpiece, not a home. "Help me change it," he said. "Help me make it feel real. That is a big responsibility. I trust you." 6 months after their first date, Adrian took Grace and Isabella to the park. It was a Sunday afternoon. Sunny and warm, Isabella ran ahead to the playground while Adrian and Grace walked hand in hand. "Grace, I need to tell you something." She looked at him, concern flickering across her face. "What is it?" "I am in love with you." "I have been for months. You make me want to be better, to be present, to build a life that matters beyond business deals and profit margins." He stopped walking and turned to face her. "I know we come from different worlds. I know this is complicated. But I also know that what we have is real, and I do not want to lose it." Grace's eyes filled with tears. "I love you too. I have been terrified to say it, because I did not think someone like you could really love someone like me." "Someone like you?" "Grace, you are the strongest, kindest, most genuine person I have ever met. You have given me more in 6 months than anyone has given me in 6 years, so what do we do now?" Adrian pulled out a small box. Grace's hand flew to her mouth. "Adrian, I am not proposing. Not yet. But I want you to know that I am serious about this. About us. This is a promise ring. A promise that I am committed to building a future with you. At whatever pace you need." Grace opened the box. Inside was a simple silver band with a small diamond, nothing ostentatious, nothing overwhelming, perfect. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes to the promise. Yes to the future. Yes to all of it." They kissed, and Isabella, who had been secretly watching from the playground, let out a cheer. 2 years later, Adrian stood at the altar of a small church. It was not the grand society wedding his position might have demanded. It was intimate, personal, filled with people who actually mattered. Grace walked down the aisle in a simple white dress. Her brother Danny escorted her, proud and tall in his suit. He had gotten into 3 excellent colleges and chosen the one that felt right. Knowing his sister had made it possible, Isabella served as the flower girl, taking her job very seriously. When Grace reached the altar, she smiled at Adrian through tears. "You ready for this?" he whispered. "I have been ready since the night you let your daughter ask if you could keep me." They exchanged vows they had written themselves, promises to be partners, to support each other's dreams, to build a life based on love rather than status. As they kissed, Adrian thought about that first blind date, how he had been skeptical, guarded, certain it would be another disappointment. How? Grace had walked in flustered and honest and completely unlike anyone he had ever met. How his daughter had seen what he was only beginning to understand, that sometimes the right person is the one you never expected, the one who challenges you to be real, the one who loves you not for what you have, but for who you are. As they walked back down the aisle hand in hand, Grace leaned close. "Thank you for keeping me." Adrian smiled. "Best decision Isabella ever made for me." And it was. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful tales about unexpected love, bridging different worlds, and the children who see what adults sometimes miss. Leave a comment sharing your thoughts on finding love in unexpected places or a time when someone surprised you by seeing your true worth. Your stories remind us that love transcends circumstances and that the most genuine connections come from authenticity, not appearances.